What is this new world going to look like for DEI? I've got a ton of thoughts and several suggestions. Here we go. All right, so let me talk to who I'm talking to. So I want to be really clear. This video is really for DEI folks who do this work inside of companies. Like, you're inside of a company that is still doing this work November 26, 2024. If that's you, that's who I'm talking to. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do, and listen, this is where the good stuff happens. I want you to spend 5 minutes putting yourself in the position of your CEO for your company, for your organization. I'm talking about any size. Could be 10 employees, 10,000 employees. Your CEO is in a very unique moment vis-a-vis his or her DEI posture, positioning, priority set, thinking right now that they need your help with. And so what I want you to do is to get into their lens with them and not pull them into the lens with you. So the first thing is, I want you to think like a CEO. What are they worried about? Where's the angst coming from? What are going to be some of the external pressures that's going to be facing this CEO? What's the board murmuring going to be like for that CEO? What funding are you, as the CEO, looking for, in need of, reliant upon to make your business work? How are you aligned, integrated in, and kind of focused around anything coming from the federal government? What does that nexus look like? And so what must be on the heart and mind of the CEO vis-a-vis this doctrine right now? I need you to think about that first. The next thing I want you to think about, and this is specifically for you, remind yourself that it was never about the letters to begin with. DEI was never about the D and the E and the I. It was about representation, igniting, fully activating, fully utilizing that representation, and assuring there are robust pipelines for the talent that you'll need to come into your environment and thrive. As a matter of practice and doctrine, that's not really changed. And so don't get caught up in the letters of it. Don't get caught up in falling on your sword and, dying on the hill of defending and protecting the letters, because it was never about the letters to begin with. All right, so if we're on the same page and y'all still with me, let me give you some ideas and some tips that I would do if you were my client. Just to make sure you know who I am talking to you, my name is Nikki Lanier, and I'm the CEO of Harper Slade. We are an advisory firm that helps organizations cultivate environments where all talent can thrive, and we have a special focus, super duper focus, on multiculturalism environments, realizing that the employees that you're going to be courting and the people you're going to be selling your goods and products to are ever more blacker and browner, and they're coming from communities that most employers know little about, and we help you close those gaps. Here we go. The first thing I want you to do is rename your department. So if DEI is in it, just go ahead and take it out. Go ahead and take it out. Some suggestions could include culture and engagement department, or culture and integration, strategic workforce alignment group, inclusive engagement team. Anything like kind of along those lines, I think would be good for you to rename your department, still keeping those principles in place, but the D and the E and the I of it, we just lost that battle. Let's move on. My second piece of advice, take your DEI policies and strategies and tactics, all of them as they are, whatever they are. I'm assuming they've all been sanctioned, supported by your executive team and your board and your leaders, assuming that it's running okay. Take those and embed them in your employee engagement strategy. Like, physically take those words, the language from those policies, practices, outcomes, and take them out of a standalone document and put them in your employee engagement strategy, maybe under your HR team or somewhere like that. Okay? Put them in employee engagement. Link them directly to your employee engagement strategy. And then take your equity work, and don't use equity because, and link that to your workforce pipeline strategies. Why? Because the outcomes that are realized from the principles that undergird diversity and inclusion, meaning greater representation, more activating of this new and different grouping of folks that we are now activating. That is your employee engagement strategy. Employee engagement helps you get more discretionary effort from your employees. More discretionary effort leads to more innovation, which leads to a more competitive organization, which is what every single employer wants. Every company wants that. So because the population of the folks are more Black, more Hispanic, more women, younger, like the generational thing, huge. Surrogate engagement, meaning what I'm watching happen with other employees feels like it's also happening to me. So now my engagement is impacted. All of that is new and different for employers. So we want our employees to understand how to think about all of this in the context of how to engage the employees that we are now going to be courting, now going to be retaining, and now going to be fully activating. And then, of course, your equity strategies help you really give a pathway for the people that you're bringing in. How do we build that pipeline? How do we make sure that we're having a continual pipeline of difference? In a world that doesn't understand how to think about equity, that strategy will fall flat. So take those and put them in them. Don't assume your budgets will remain intact. I know we have clients that have already said their budgets will not be touched. But there are some of you that may not have the kind of budget allotment for your DEI work that you have in the past. All right, so what you want to do is become a part of a P&L. Usually where there is always money sitting around in ways that it may not be for DEI, if you can find your way inside of the HR kind of budgetary line item, your learning and development, i.e. professional development, and of course your operations, like even a shared services model where maybe your DEI folks become deployed as a part of the businesses, servicing those businesses in the operations. So your budget lines come from P&L that's less volatile and more established. And it also reinforces how much the employee engagement strategies that are a part of each of those other departments and their workforce pipeline strategies that are a part of other departments, how integral your piece is to that. And so the funding comes from those departments, not from a standalone, very vulnerable, out here by yourself on the island budget for DEI. Last thing I want to say, and this is a little bizarre, I want you to start thinking about reframing your mind to the principles of DEI, not as the what, but as your how. Your principles around this work become how you develop your culture, how you realize your employee engagement gains, how you build robust and expansive pipeline development into environments or into cities and multicultural markets that you might not have been before. It also becomes how you respond to employee engagement survey data that suggests themes along the lines of difference in the employee life cycle experience. It becomes how you respond to disengagement. It becomes how you respond to turnover thematically. So anyway, I'm running out of time. Saying all that to say, hope this was helpful. Really thinking about life inside of this new pivot, nothing to be daunted by or angry about. Don't miss this opportunity to still continue this work because we're hung up in doing it the way we have been doing it. There's work that we could have done differently and better. We'll do it now, and we're going to do it with a differently aligned way to engage our stakeholders and our customers and our employees around this work. Hope it was helpful.